Good evening, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please subscribe and like it. If you don't, please dislike it, and you never have to come back here again. I'm trying to write an album from my shed with help from friends, and this is episode 19 of my efforts working on a song called Breath. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I'm frustrated to say it a little bit, in the sense that I actually recorded a version of this video earlier in the week and then made a really stupid mistake with my archiving and bin protocol, which has resulted in me having to do this again. Thankfully, I have recorded at this point an hour-long sort of podcast type video with James that I'm going to be putting up here on the channel after this one goes up. Luckily, I had already edited that and written to an MP4, so that has remained intact, thank the Lord. But this I'm having to record again, and so I'll try and make it as entertaining as possible, even though this is the second or third time I've done it. But yeah, so I'm working on Breath. James is getting to a point, which is the reason I've done this episode with him recently, where he'll have a similar space in his shed at the bottom of the garden, where he'll have also similar resources. So we're going to be able to pass stuff back and forth much more freely, hoping to end up being a lot more collaborative with him going further down the line. And so hopefully there'll be more of those episodes to come as well. I don't know if they'll all be an hour long or whether we'll try and make them slightly shorter, but all of that is to say that with Breath, I'm getting to a point now where there needs some serious work on the bridge in terms of drums, which I don't think I'm equipped to do. So hopefully James is going to help me out there. But also, it's a track that I'm really pleased with the mix as it stands at the moment. It's very simple. I've got a couple of tasks I need to complete with it, and then I'm going to hand it to him. And then if he comes back to me with a version that we both like, then that might be the end of that, and it might be a done track. So quite excited about that part. I think I've made a final decision on the guitar, the rhythm guitar for it. So I've decided, rather than go with the acoustic, I'm going to actually do the rhythm on my telly. So this is a 2002, I think, maybe 2001, I might be completely wrong, Squier Affinity telly. It originally had a black pickguard. I took that off as soon as I got it. And I played it for a little while just as it was, but I got in a band that got relatively serious, so I ended up having a guitar tech at PMT Music in Oxford replace the tuners, redo all of the pots, switches, everything, put a Seymour Duncan in here at the neck. Can't remember which Seymour Duncan it is, if I'm honest, my apologies. And also the same, I've got a Seymour Duncan stacked humbucker here. I don't remember what version that is either. I could probably do some research and find out if anyone's curious, but since no one's really watching this fucking channel, then I probably won't. But so that's done. And so I've also had this set up recently by another tech locally. Fret has been refinished and the intonation's been sorted out and so on, because it hadn't seen any real love for about 5 years or so, I guess, when I sort of put it down the last time. But it's kind of my go-to. I love it. I also recently got this, actually yesterday, which is the Dunlop Band of Gypsies Fuzz, authentic Jimi Hendrix fuzz face. Which I've been playing around with. I've kind of got the fuzz almost all the way off, actually, on it. But I'm using it with a clean tone on the Katana to kind of get a real nice. I don't know if you'll be able to, hear it, but yeah, just on the edge of sort of breaking up. Which is lovely. Hopefully that's coming through. But yeah, and so I think I've settled on that as being the rhythm guitar tone for Breath. I think the acoustic guitar is lovely, and obviously the whole parts. I'm gonna have to play a very similar part on this so it fits with the piano and everything. Otherwise, I don't want to go too wild on this because it'll come out of the pocket. But I just think this has a bit. It cuts through a bit more, but also has less body in some ways. It seems to allow for more space with the bass and the bass and drums and piano. And I think that's probably there's probably a very good reason for that I can't put into words, but it feels right anyway. So gonna record a version of that on here, and then I'll come back and talk about the vocal track that I've ended up putting in and whether or not I'm gonna need to record that. So good, got a version. Good, got a version of that down. I haven't listened back to it, that particular one. I've listened back to it a few times with that particular guitar tone, with that balance in the track, and it's fine. I played around with it quite a lot last night and found that if there was any kind of fuzz or any huge amounts of boost, then it actually was counterproductive to have it in there because it just drowned out or messed around with the clarity of the piano. But I found the right balance there, so I'm pretty confident that's going to sound good in the mix. I will obviously listen back to it and redo it if I have to, but I think I'm pretty good there. Vocal wise, you probably heard some vocal there. I re-recorded the vocal on a straight up stand, and this time I actually used one of these little foam vocal booths, relatively cheap from pretty much anywhere, like to attach to that straight up mic stand. Found that actually captured the voice far better than what I had been using, which was the same mic but without the thing, and also I stood up, which always makes a difference to performance. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think I've got a few versions. I've got about 20 takes recorded. Probably the last 5 are all much of a muchness, so I'll probably pick through those to find the best mix, and then send those across. So yeah, and that will probably much be the version then that I send to James. I'm not going to do anything more with it. I don't think I'm going to try and add any harmonies before I send it to him. He generally, well, he may do. In the past, like we've worked on harmonies together, but I think it's always been me that's added them to his songs or to mine rather than him adding them. But I don't know what he's going to do, so we will see. Hopefully be able to get that off to him, I would think by the end of tomorrow probably. I'll have worked through it. So I'll post this video and this will be episode 19. If you've watched to the end, that's amazing. I hope you've enjoyed it, and like I say, please subscribe and like the video, and see you in episode 20.